What's going on, you guys? This is RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer, bringing you another video on Sparking Zero. And today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. Instead of doing a update video, I decided to give you a discussion on something that I think would really benefit the game, which is something that we could potentially see with this upcoming update for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. So I hope you guys stay tuned. But before we dive into today's topic, I want to ask you guys to do me the biggest favor and like this video. Yeah, I know it's a bit annoying getting this request at the very beginning of a video before you watch it in its entirety, but YouTube's algorithm encourages it. So if you rock with your boy and you know I'm gonna bring that awesome content, then be sure to press that like button and smash that hype button. But if you just so happen to be new to this channel and you feel like I wasted 10 minutes of your time that you can't get back, then feel free to retract that like and give it a dislike. Just rate the video. But yeah, guys, as you are aware, Chunoft has been rolling out some major changes to Dragon Ball Sparking Zero that undoubtedly bring back players who once dropped the game. Not only are we going to see classic modes such as Mission 100 and Survival make a return in a couple of weeks for free, we're also going to see the return of classical Sparking characters who should have originally been in the game from jump. And since they're most likely going to make us pay for these old characters, I'm hoping that they at least come with other extra perks. As you are aware, we got Super 17 making his return, and he's already going to be coming with some additional things that he can do, such as serving as a fusion when you add Z17 as well as Hellfighter 17 to the same team. It's still up in the air on if Hellfighter 17 will serve as a new character or not, but I'm pretty sure that the original version of 17 will be receiving a update in the form of a cosmetic, since we see him wearing the jacket from Dragon Ball GT, and there's a high probability that this costume will alter his ultimate attack or techniques, especially since Chunoft will be providing suits that will actually do this, such as the Bojack Unbound suit for Gohan that'll allow him to perform the Brilliant Strike. And then there's the added addition of Super Saiyan Bardock, who will not only just come as a new character, but will also be programmed into the base form of Bardock as a transformation, which is a good solid update. And this got me thinking, we all hate when we see so many variants of pre-existing characters that could have easily been added to the same slot as the base form and serve as a transformation. So I've come up with an idea that they should essentially give us an update that course corrects some of the things that they've done with characters such as Goku and all his many variants and transformations. As you heard me say in my previous video, one of the blessings that we have in regards to being able to transform mid-battle is that it allows for the moveset to change for said character that transforms. So if I'm not feeling the ultimate attack for SSJ2 Goku, I can simply transform into Super Saiyan 3 and perform even better attacks such as Super Dragon Twin Fist and the Dragon Fist ultimate attack. Like, at the end of the day, it should all be about variety, and having a single transformation being locked to one slot means that all the moves are going to be locked with it, and we have a lot of that going on in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, which is why I've compiled a list of all the transformations that I feel could easily be patched into the original base forms of certain characters. And the first transformation I want to start off with is Dragon Ball Daima SSJ4 Goku. Back when Dragon Ball Daima was still airing and we saw this character, we initially thought that we were going to see him right off the heels of his transformation debut in the show, but we had to wait a while, resulting in it releasing months later. And when we eventually got him, I thought he was going to come equipped with the base form of Goku, like a Dragon Ball Daima version, similar to what we got with Goku Mini, where we received the base form first and eventually got his other forms such as Super Saiyan 2 and Super Saiyan 4 respectively. But we wouldn't get that for the adult version of the character. All we would receive is adult Super Saiyan 4 Goku, which, don't get me wrong, this is a very awesome character to play with. He's cool, he has a unique look, and holds a very special place in our hearts since this is one of the final works of Akira Toriyama before his untimely death. Not to mention, he had one of the best transformations that we've seen in a while in any Dragon Ball anime, which is unfortunate because since he's been reduced to a single slot, we wouldn't be able to see that transformation replicated into the video game. But seeing as we're getting this update with Bardock in his Super Saiyan form, this will serve as a great opportunity for Chunoft to do the same thing with Daima SSJ4 Goku. And I know some of you are probably saying to yourself, but that would mean that they would have to add the previous forms of Daima Goku. To which I say, they wouldn't have to do that at all, because they already have that in the game. If you guys aren't aware, Dragon Ball Daima takes place in age 775, which is roughly 1 year after the defeat of Kid Buu at the end of Dragon Ball Z, meaning that if Chunoft really wanted to, they could patch Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku into his N version, which is a version of the character that currently has 3 transformations, and I feel like Super Saiyan 4 would be a welcomed addition to that. And I know some of you are going to argue that a 4th transformation would be too much to add to NZ Goku, and to that I got gotta bring up Frieza, because this guy has 4 transformations, which includes his full power 100% transformation. So I definitely think it can be done. I would simply just make it to where it would cost the player 4 skill counts. But anyways, the next character that we have on the list is Daima Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, which basically echoes the same issues that I had with Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku, where we only get this transformation for a single slot as opposed to getting him embedded into all the different forms of his adult version. And this right here really irked me, because before we even got this DLC, we had previously gotten Vegeta Mini with 3 different transformations, which included Super Saiyan 1, 2, and 3. But as I said in regards to Super Saiyan 4 Goku Daima, if the developers really wanted to, they could simply just patch this version of Vegeta into his NZ version, which has more than enough room since he only has 2 transformations, that being Super Saiyan 1 and Super Saiyan 2. And if they added Super Saiyan 3 to this, it would only cost him 3 skill counts, so yeah. But moving on, the next transformation I have is Ultimate Gohan. And to be fair, this character has always been regulated to a single slot as opposed to just featured in all the different versions of adult Gohan, but this time around I would like it if you could actually transform into him. I always hated the fact that you couldn't transform into him mid-battle, especially given the fact that this could previously be done in the Budokai games. And I remember back when I was younger, my friends would always argue the fact that this couldn't be done because the ultimate form was always regulated to that particular kind of costume that he wore, which is basically just Goku's costume. But Sparking Zero has pretty much killed that argument, since they now featured a version of adult Gohan that can transform from his base form all the way to Ultimate Gohan with his Dragon Ball Super version, which also lets you go a level above Ultimate with his beast form, totaling up to 3 transformations. And as you're aware, the original or Z version of adult Gohan currently has 3 transformations, those being Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2, as well as the Great Saiyaman. And while that was always the case with the Tenkaichi games, I feel like they could basically just knock off Great Saiyaman if they wanted to, or they could do like I suggested with SSJ 4 Daima Goku and add him to the 4th slot. But moving on, the next transformation that we have on this list is Piccolo fused with Kami, which is basically an updated version of his Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 version titled Piccolo End. And this is basically the same complaint that I had almost 20 years ago back when Tenkaichi 3 featured this early version of Piccolo, which is essentially the basic form of Piccolo we have in this game, as an entirely separate character from his Kami fusion transformation. I always thought that was a stupid decision and a waste of a character slot, since we were previously allowed to transform into fused Kami in the Budokai games. And I guess you could say that they're just featuring them as separate characters, since Piccolo didn't technically transform into this fused version. He literally fused with Kami in order to achieve it. But hey, like I said, variety is everything, and I'm pretty sure that fans would like to have all of the moves in Piccolo's arsenal during a battle, which is why these characters should be merged into one. But moving on, the next transformation I have on this list, and it's arguably the most offensive, is Perfect Cell. Not to be confused with Cell Perfect Form. If you're not aware, Base Cell or First Form Cell currently has 2 transformations, those being his second form and his Cell Perfect Form. But for whatever unexplained reason, Spike Chunsoft thought it would be a brilliant idea to just end the transformation tree right there and split the last transformation off into its own separate slot, that being Perfect Cell, which is arguably the most egregious thing about this roster, because one of the things that Sparking Zero touts itself to be is a legacy game. This is a game that stands on the shoulders of its predecessors, those being Tenkaichi 1 through Tenkaichi 3, and the developers tried to make this feel like a true sequel, but it looks like they forgot that Perfect Cell was originally tethered to Base Form Cell in all of his transformations in the previous titles, meaning if you really wanted to transform from Cell Perfect Form to Perfect Cell, you could do so mid-battle, which would cost you 2 skills. I don't know who was stupid enough to make this decision, but I don't think it would be hard to fix it, so they need to do that. But anyways, the next transformation that I have on this list is Super Buu. Something that I always hated about the Majin Buu family in the Tenkaichi games is the fact that they're all isolated. They aren't necessarily transformations. The only character within the Majin family that does feature transformations is Super Buu, who has the absorb forms for characters like Gotenks and Gohan. You should also have the absorb version of Piccolo, but I digress. But yeah, this dude has a pretty good amount of transformations, but what always kind of struck me the wrong way is the fact that he isn't a transformation in and of himself, particularly his normal normal Super Buu form, which I believe should have also been a transformation to his evil form, since Super Buu is basically just evil Buu after he absorbs Fat Buu. I always felt like that was a missed opportunity to not include that, especially since it would have made for an awesome transformation animation sequence where it could replicate what we saw in the anime of him turning Fat Buu into chocolate and eating him. But anyways, this one right here is probably the one that we probably will never see an update to, and I guess I have to be fine with that. I just wanted to voice my frustration on why that never has happened in the games. But with all that said, guys, what do you think about this? With Spike Chunsoft updating the game with Super Saiyan Bardock to his pre-existing slot, do you feel like we could get a similar thing with characters that already exist in the game? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, I ask you like or dislike the video. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, it can be a thumbs down. But if you just so happen to enjoy this video, it would help me out tremendously if you shared it with all your different followers on all the different social media outlets. Sharing really makes a difference. But this is your boy RBG signing out on another video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.